What's up guys, Sci-Fi Guy 2094 here. Today I have a very good review. I'm going to be talking about Alien Romulus. Well, there we go. Let's flip that around. Alien Romulus. Alright, so basically I'm going to go into the story a little bit here on this review, but I'm not going to go over everything, okay? So basically you have these kids that work as miners, right? Mining materials, these very kind of harsh conditions. They're basically like working their hands to the bone, and they basically decide, yeah, we want a better life. We want to get off world. We want better for ourselves. So they find out that there is I believe, the Wayland Corporation, the corporation were introduced in, I believe that's Alien. Well, no, it's actually Prometheus. We're introduced to the Wayland Corporation and Prometheus. So basically, they find out one of those old ships are kind of just above the atmosphere of the planet that they're mining, and they figure, okay, well, they kind of figure out it's intact, so they can just take the ship, and they can kind of just leave and get a better life for themselves. So, unfortunately, things go awry because once you're on the ship, they inadvertently release some of the face crawlers. So, once the face crawlers are released, that's kind of like game over. It does attach itself to this one chick, and they're like, they don't know how to get it off. It's just, but anyway, it goes back to the roots from the Alien film from 1979. I really liked that. The claustrophobic feel of this film. They have limited resources. They do find some weapons aboard the ship, but overall they don't have a lot to work with. Kind of just their wits and kind of their own instincts, things like that. So I really like the lead character. I don't know her name in the film, but it's played by Kaylee Spaney. I didn't even realize that I had seen her before, but she's the chick that plays in Civil War, the A24 film. So basically, her and Andy is this android, and basically, it's kind of like her brother. They look after each other. So I really like the lead character. Some of the other characters don't really like Andy because he's this android, and some of them have ill feelings towards androids. But basically, I just want to talk about the horror element of this movie. Like I said, it goes back to its roots. Horror element is there. The facehugger scenes when they're walking in this corridor, they try to figure out, if they lower, I believe it's like if they lower their temperature, they can kind of appear invisible to these facehuggers. Of course, this ship is kind of damaged, and everything is not in functioning order. So once their body temperature rises, unfortunately, they are visible to the facehuggers, and they just start leaping all over the place. That was an intense scene, very scary. When we see the full-grown xenomorphs, though, that is also a very good horror element. They've got to fight these things, and there's like a scene where there's zero gravity, and they're shooting these things, these xenomorphs, but they're in zero gravity, so the blood is kind of just like floating in the air, and these xenomorphs are basically perfect organisms, so to speak. So even in death, their blood can still damage or even kill you. They have this acidic blood, so they have to, basically get out of the way from the acidic blood. Otherwise they're going to die. So, that was a good part. So there's some good action in here, as well as horror. I think the horror element is definitely the strong suit of this film, and I would definitely recommend this film. So Alien Romulus, man, as a sci-fi horror film, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. I'm really impressed with Fox. They did a great job on this film, and I would definitely be excited to see a sequel that follows the story of the main chick. You know, oh, there was one more thing I was going to say. The alien hybrid human was very, very unsettling, very creepy. I liked that design. It was scary. I'll tell you what I didn't like about it. The only thing I did not like about it is that basically, so the face hugger that attached itself to the chick earlier, they were trying to figure out, okay, what percent chance uh is it that it actually laid its egg, and there was like, there was still a chance that it had laid the egg inside of her. So obviously it did. This chick is pregnant, now towards the end of the film. These xenomorph things are just crazy. So the baby's actually able to like develop in her pretty quickly. So she actually gives birth to the thing, and it's a little baby crawling around. And then, seemingly in a few minutes, it's fully grown. It's like 8 feet tall. Creepy as hell. The only thing I didn't like about it is that it really grew up in like 5 seconds. I mean, I was like, okay, they could have figured out a better way to incorporate the xenomorph human hybrid into this film without it being a baby and then just growing up in like 5 seconds. If you remember earlier in the film, they, I believe, were studying these xenomorphs in terms of their biology, and they were hoping to synthesize some type of, probably synthesize some type of serum in order to allow humans to actually be able to travel through space better and hibernate and basically just be more energy efficient with like conserving their energy and their vitals and all that stuff, so they could actually get to destinations without basically aging out, and things like that. So if you remember that from earlier, I kind of wish they took that aspect, and I kind of wish it would have just been like, okay, there's these human xenomorph hybrids that they were testing this on, and then they were in a lab somewhere, and then that's how we see the human alien hybrid. I wish they would have gone that route instead of just like, okay, it's a baby here, and then in 5 seconds it's grown up. Anyway, that's my only quarrel with the film for the most part. But overall, solid film, 8 out of 10. It's a great sci-fi horror film. You should definitely watch Alien Romulus.